Alright, guys. Um, so I was looking at the tape measure all wrong when I was trying to figure these push rods out, and I'm like, man, this is not working out how it should. I didn't realize I had a tape measure that read 30 seconds on one side, and then the other side is sixteenths and eighths. And I'm sitting here wondering why I'm coming up with numbers that are basically factory length push rods, like 6200, 6250, and I'm like, there's no way. That's way off. Because I got a stock length 6250 push rod here, and my push rod tool's shorter by a good amount. So here's what I came up with. I apologize to you guys for running you through this. But this is real life. This is how it goes. Sometimes you beat your brains out. I came up with 6125. Now that's before a gasket. So you add 27 thousandths compressed to that. I come up with a 6152 or a 6152. 6.152 to be exact. So unless you get a custom made push rod, which is expensive, what you can do is you can manipulate the numbers a tiny bit. I'm going to go with a 6150 push rod. Trickflow makes a 5/16. I believe it's a 80 thousandths wall thickness. So I am going to run a 6150 length push rod in this engine. That's what I'm going to order. I think they're $100 and something, 120. Not terrible. Comes in a set of 16. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so that's what you guys can do if you come up with a similar issue where you can't find a push rod that is the exact to the T measurement. The lifter is going to take some of it. They all have about 10 to 20 thousandths worth of play, so to speak. I forget the actual term, but the lifter actually has some play in it where it pushes down and compresses. So that lifter should be able to take a little bit of that length out, even though we're probably taking it out with it not being pumped up. As we spin that around, that lifter could compress because it's not pumped up and it's not a solid lifter. I actually have a lifter made that is solid for a stock roller setup. These lifters, I'm not pulling them apart to make a solid lifter because that lifter height has to stay the same. These are just some important facts I want to run past you guys. So what I'm talking about here is inside the lifter, that plunger that's in there. Try to see the camera. That plunger where the push rod sits in, there's a snap ring in there. Kind of hard to see. But that snap ring you could take out, and I could make this solid by shimming it and getting that snap ring to go in there. The issue is trying to shim this is going to be really hard to get the exact to where that snap ring just pops in there correctly. I would need bushings. I could throw a bunch of crap in there. Some people use dimes for some of them because they're big enough to do so. I don't know if I could get dimes in that. These springs on these heads, these aren't very strong. They're strong enough to keep it compressed. And yeah, it takes some pressure. That lifter should be stronger than this. Alright. Now granted, the further you push this down, the harder it gets. For what I'm doing, I'm plenty satisfied with the results that I came up with. I think I'll be fine. Sometimes you just gotta send it. So 6150 push rod is what I came up with after converting it to a decimal. I use Google and stuff for that. I put in the fraction. I can't even remember what the fraction was off the top of my head. and that comes out to $61.52 with the gasket added in. So make sure if you do it the way I did it with no gasket, you're adding a gasket. It's got to be with the gasket. Alright? And that's something I should have mentioned in the video. I do talk about the gasket, and I just completely forgot and didn't even think about it. So please, please, when you measure pushrod length, factor in the gasket, compressed thickness of that gasket, whatever you plan to use. Now, like I said, the plunger in that lifter will take up some. So if you go from, like, say, a 50 thousandths head gasket and you chop it down to a 27 thousandths compressed, you should theoretically change push rods, but you can get away with using the same push rod because that lifter should take up that slack. All right. It's just some tips I wanted to throw at you guys. I know the video's long. I'm trying to make it as informational as possible. Just so if somebody does this after watching me, they do it right. I don't want to see anybody order something and have it be wrong and just fighting it because I left out information. So I apologize again to you guys. I got it figured out. It took a couple minutes. Again, thank you for watching and putting up with my antics. Catch you guys on the next one. Serious this time. Thanks a lot, guys. What's up, YouTube? Adam Grover coming back at you. And if you watched the last video or the last couple videos, then you probably know what's in the box. I'm gonna get right into it on this one. I told you guys I'd unbox the cylinder heads with you, so I'm gonna do it. Now, I posted on Facebook in the A2 Deck Mafia group looking for a set of heads. Usually always somebody with a pair or with parts in general on those type of pages. And I came across a couple people. However, Ed Curtis was the first guy to comment, and he said he had a pair of heads. So, alright. Now, told me they were what they were, which we're about to find out in a second. But it was a pleasure talking with him, and he helped me out quite a bit. Told me what valves I would need because these are a bare set of heads. And honestly, the price was really good. I don't know what it is with me and aluminum heads lately, but the small block Chevy, I think I got those for $300, and that's what we picked these up for, $300. It's gonna be backwards, but these are Holley heads, Systemax heads. From the research I've done, they're bare, as you can see. These have been cut. How much they've been cut, I'm not quite sure, but they started life, he said, as a 58cc chamber, and then they were cut down all the way down to the seat, and they're angle cut as well. So actually look like a pretty nice set of heads. You know, he asked me not to put all the information out there, so some of it I'm not going to. These heads are going to be going through. My dad's going to go through them and put our own little twist on it. because just looking at it, I can already see that what I want done, well, it's not done to these. So these were for a class car, so they're not allowed to do a whole bunch to them. But I forget what class they were for. I want to say it was I almost say Renegade, but I'm not. Don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, like I said, I can already see what I want to do to them. But they look pretty good. This one does, at least. Ed was a pleasure to do business with. I'm probably going to have to cut the valves and do a valve job, or have a valve job done on these heads, which is fine. Not too worried about it. These are brand new valves that I also ordered. He had them in the shop. And he also gave me the part number for the exhaust valves, but honestly, I might just go through him because he's a rev dealer. Now, these valves, I paid regular price for them. But I did, however, save on some shipping through him. Now, it could just be because I bought the heads through him. But either way, the experience was pretty good, so I will use him. You can see these are brand new valves. He gave me part numbers, like I said, for the exhaust valves. Man, these are nice. These things might make some power. A valve, that intake valve is actually out of the chamber. I would say that's money well spent, just right there. That makes me happy because that's exactly what I wanted. So I am happy with that. So I'll probably have a valve job done on these. Take the new valves, have somebody cut it, maybe like a 3 angle or 5 angle. These are actually a pretty nice set of heads. These would probably make decent power even the way they are, to be honest. I can't put a lot out there. I'm sorry, guys, but I can I can see some of the stuff at some of the tricks. But, however, this is what I got. Holley System X heads. Stock, they're not really that great out of the box. But, I mean, they do make over 300 horse on a 302. These are what competed with Trick Flow back in the day. This is an old set of heads. These things are probably 30 years old. 25 to 30 years old, I would say. Which I'm 32, so these are almost as old as I am. And these aren't the Brodax Holley, these are just Holley. They just have the Holley stamp on them. Some of them will have a Brodax stamp. So these are probably an earlier casting. But these are done pretty nice. I'm not going to say what's done. He told me a little bit, but he didn't get too involved. But I can see what's done. So if you got the eye for it, then it is what it is. But let me shed some light on the situation here. Sorry, dropped my phone. That's inside the exhaust port. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Hard to hold the camera in the head. There you go. So that's looking in the exhaust port. And you can see all the castings, so there's not anything done, right? All that casting in there. You can still even see, I saw some flashing somewhere. There it is. You know, so there's nothing too crazy done. So thanks to Ed Curtis. This is a very nice start, because these just, my dad will be happy when he sees these. He's not gonna, there is a lot to do, but not a lot to do for how I want them done. Just checking a couple gaskets on here. I apologize. I'm looking at them. You know, we're supposed to do this together, so you got to bear with me here, because this is what I want to do, is see what I got going on here. Alright. Yeah, these, I think these are going to work pretty good. There's still a good amount to get out of these, but if he didn't do these, because I don't know if he did them, or if he has a guy, or if somebody did them before he got them, whoever did what they did to him did a pretty good job. Now the only thing I don't like is they have an EGR in here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's got the EGR hole. So that I don't care for. I have to do something with that. So I might have to find somebody who can weld that, because I don't trust myself doing it. And then blend that bowl, because I do not want that in there. Let's get the other head out. Probably both heads have it, I'd imagine. So that would be the only downfall. Really don't like that in the cylinder like that, or in the bowl of the valve. But it's nobody's fault. That's Holly's fault for doing that. Now that wouldn't change anything, you know. For one, what I paid for the heads, like I said, $300, and then plus the valves. You can't beat that. That's why I jumped on it. I was like, yeah, nah. Like I said, that's something Holly did. Probably 58 small legal. Bull crap for California. California. If you live there, I'm sorry if I'm offending you. All their rules and crap for vehicles suck. Just the honest truth. And unfortunately, that's what these companies have to abide by. This head has it too. No big deal. Could take them somewhere and have that welded. Now I could also block it off like you guys saw me do on the Fairmont, because all that is this little hole right here. And honestly, the gasket I'm going to use doesn't even, it blocks this. So really I could block this off, but the problem is I also have holes at the top of them, which I'd like welded. The issue is, granted the exhaust is coming out, but exhaust also comes back in. Nobody really talks about that. So when it comes back in, that could cause turbulence, in my personal opinion. Now, it might not do anything, but it doesn't need to be there. I don't want it there. And it also has holes in the top of these runners right here. Shine a light in. And that's probably EGR as well. See the hole? Let me see if I can find a pointer. Drill bit work. So this hole right here is what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get a better. Turn this down. There we go. That hole right there. So maybe get those welded up. Might even be able, if I could get in there to do it, might be able to tap that and put like a brass plug in it, and then have my dad clean it up. I'd rather it welded though. So I'll talk to a guy I know who does some welding and see if he wants to mess with it. Because I would like that welded up. Just personal preference. I don't want that that hole in there. However, overall these are for $300. I mean, I'll probably, said and done, I'll probably have what you would have into a set of SVE heads, buying them new. So probably around anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 I'll probably have in these said and done. Where these are a usable altogether head, valve springs, guide plates, 7/16 rocker studs, which I actually have like 14 of them. But valve springs, if I didn't mention those already, exhaust valves, valve job, all that good stuff. That's probably about where I'll end up at in these, which I'm okay with, because these will be a better head than an SVE head. Now, I was going to buy the SVE heads. I like the SVE heads. I think they're probably one of the best bargains for the money at the moment. As far as the cylinder head goes, they come, if you get the CNC'd ones, they come with undercut valves, which these are also undercut. But they come with undercut valves, they come with the CNC job, which really to me doesn't mean anything. They come with a decent valve spring, 600 lift capable, and I believe it's a double valve spring, so that's nice. Downfall to them, they only come with 3/8 rocker arm studs. But I think those heads, I think they have potential after being done up. So I really wanted a set of those pretty bad. But I always try to go with the deal because this was supposed to be a budget thing. And even though these will probably end up costing me the same, I have a head that's cut down. These chambers are pretty small. And they're cut where I want them cut. That matters to me a lot. That's roughly $300 to $500 I don't have to spend. I basically paid for a mill job buying these. So for $300, kind of a no-brainer for an aluminum head. As long as the guides and stuff are all good in them, which they don't look like they'd be bad. But it's got some nice stuff. These are nice. So I'll probably talk to Ed about a valve spring kit and the exhaust valves, because I'd like to get that stuff ordered as soon as possible. And I'm going to try to get at least the 2 valves in it, because I do have my small block Chevy stuff. So I could probably, yeah, that fits right in there. Could probably use the small block Chevy exhaust valve, and then the new valves for check piston and valve clearance. Bear back. Bear with me. Check piston and valve clearance, and to get gotta lay this down. Sorry guys, I'm not a great multitasker, talking and trying to do something here. Get this valve out. Push rod length and piston and valve clearance. I gotta check both of those things. There we go. That's one on. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm setting it up. So this way I can get this stuff done. Now I don't know if these keepers are going to work with these valves. They kind of should, because these are a small block Chevy valve. I gotta look up to see what keepers I need. I want to get a good set of springs for these that can handle what I'm going to throw at them. I gotta steal a retainer. I could make this easy and probably just use the whatchamacallit, but I'll try it like this. It's probably a mistake doing it this way, but trying to do it so you guys see it go together, but it's hard to do at this angle because I really need to hold the valve. All right, there we go. These are just some cheap springs. It's not even the kit that Comp sells. This will be enough to get to check the stuff I need to check for piston and valve clearance and for pushrod length. There we go. So I'll be able to do that. Get that stuff figured out, then I can order that stuff as well. When I say order that stuff, I mean push rods. Figure out what I'm doing cam-wise, and either order the stuff to cut the pistons, or order the stuff to cut the pistons and the cam I want, or however I end up doing it. And then I'll probably drop these to my dad for the porting. Probably take them to have the valve job done and that hole welded up. Then back to my dad for cleanup, and hopefully then on the car. So going to be a lot of running around to do for this stuff, but it should be worth it. So that's pretty much it. You got to see both heads. I'm going to go mess with this a little bit. I'm not going to really go crazy checking everything tonight because I want to show you guys. But I'm curious exactly what I need for push rods. So if I can get an idea, and I want to see if it spins over. So with the cam that's in it, no head gasket on it, you know, all the fun stuff. Screw it, whatever. Let's go do it. See if I can do this. Video is going to be longer than I anticipated, and I apologize. That's how it goes sometimes. All right. Just setting the head on. You guys don't really need to see me or watch me do this part here. Get to look dead in my face though while I do it. Alright, there's that. Set you guys up on here. Trying to get guys adjusted. Alright. There we go. I gotta grab some more stuff. I would like to put a bolt in this head. Bigger garage. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Ugh. At least it's easy to get to, I guess. What's happening here? Had this on the dowel pin and evidently it came off. Bolt back out, see what we got going on. Maybe that's what it was, saving me time so I could put these lifters in because they got to go in before the head goes on. See that? Sometimes your stuff helps you out. It's like they want to go on. That'll work. Now this is not the right size gasket or socket. I don't know why I called it a gasket. And I need the ratchet that I don't know what I did with it. I had it over here and stuff is not where I put it. Interesting. Ah, that in front of my face. The time-consuming stuff that people don't realize when you do this type of crap. For some reason, that does not want to sit down in there. Interesting. That's another thing I gotta order. These head bolts. Alright, so now I gotta figure this out. See if I can get one of these to go in, tighten up. I just need it where it's snug, so that way it doesn't try to lift. It might not even try to lift the head off. I don't feel like fighting it if it does, and I want to get a decent measurement. So that's why it's important to find hardware to hold it down and get it tight. And I don't have to torque it, I just need it like that. Probably put another one in. These aren't the bolts I'm using for this. These are the factory head bolts I took off. So I don't really care about them. So I don't care if it's the right socket or not. And like I said, they don't have to be super tight. I just want it where it can't lift. So now I gotta go grab the pushrod tool. and see what we got going on. And I'll grab another stud. Put a rocker arm. I brought two pushrod tools. One's longer than the other. This one's way longer. Most likely it's not going to be that one because that's taller than the stud. So I believe it's a 6-inch one. Yeah, a little bit longer than 6. It's like 6 1/8. Not too concerned about what it is screwed all the way down. I'm concerned about what it is after I set it. Alright, so now I gotta grab a marker. And I want to turn this so the valve or the lifter is all the way down. You gotta spin the motor over for that. Alright, so if you guys can see, these are my lifters. What is that? The exhaust valve is open. The intake is all the way down. Okay, so that's just how I'm doing this for push rod length. And what I do is I color the top of the valve with a marker, but I just don't color it. I'll actually color it this way because it's going to leave lines in the top of the valve. And if you go side to side, you might not see the pattern that the rocker's putting down. Go like that. It's nice and red. Put that down. Now you're supposed to use a solid rocker for the or lifter for this, but these springs are so weak, I doubt it's really going to make a difference. So I'm just going to take the tension off right here, and we're going to spin it over. I won't go slow because I don't know about piston to valve clearance. I don't want to bend the valve. But that just cleared with no gasket on it. So now we're going to take this off. Now that we're back down, And that whole side there is wearing. So now we're just going to have to clean that off. That tells me that I need it to be longer. I'll go one full turn on this. We'll do it again. What I'm looking for is I need the pattern dead center in the valve. You don't want it to rock back, you don't want it to rock too far forward. So you want to do the same thing here. Just did. The exhaust valve's open, intake valve is shut. Right. I'm going to run that again. So I got some on the edge. It didn't put a pattern straight across for some reason. Spun it around a couple times that time. It looks like I got movement here and back here. Not as bad as the first time though. Go one full turn again. What's going on here? Alright, there we go. It's also because I don't have guide plates on it. So I just got to be careful and make sure that that doesn't spin. I'll spin it over a couple times again this time. I don't even know if I marked the top of the valve. Can't remember. Let's find out in a second. Nope. Missed the whole step. Getting ahead of myself. Alright. Did all that for nothing. That last one. It's alright. Do it again. Now it's marked. It's still coming back, so I'm going to go longer. Go another turn. So I'll go 2 turns this time. Because I'm impatient. It's wild that these heads are milled down that much, and this cam being advanced clears. So that's opening the intake and everything early. It's advanced up. Usually you retard something to get you'll retard a cam to get more clearance out of it. Depends on the events and stuff with the cam really, but most cases you retard it to get more clearance. And this thing is advanced up and it's got plenty of room. There we go. That's a nice pattern. I'm going to show you guys. It's hard to see. Probably can't see it. That's pretty much dead center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one more turn. And I'm going to do it again. See how it looks. And then, if I have to, I'll go back to where it's at. And this is what you got to do to get your push rod length. But that is a nice pattern. You should actually measure that so I can see exactly where I'm at. Bear with me, guys. I'm horrible at 16ths and 8ths and everything else, so. Six. I'm an idiot. I'm reading tape measure all wrong. Let me see. All right. About 6 1/8. 6 3/16. And probably 6 3/16. So I'm gonna have to take that and figure it out what it is in from fraction to, I forget what it's called, decimal basically. Alright, I'm going to spin this one more time, mark that. Here we go, one last time, see what we got. Alright. And that is perfect. And that's why I wanted to go one more, because that's even better than the the first one. That is dead center. It's got good pressure right in the middle because it took the mark off pretty much all the way across. That's perfect push rod length. So that's what you want to look for, is this mark just being dead center. It's not super thick because that's right where the ball's riding on it, the roller tip. All right. So that's perfect. So now I got to measure that again and see what I come up with for that. Now this has a line on it that's dotted. So I'm aligning those dots up. That's when I say I'm going another turn. That's what I'm aligning up. Might take a dang stock push rod, to be honest with you. That looks like 6 1/4. Let me go grab a factory roller push rod because I have them in a box somewhere. And we're going to redo that with a factory length. I actually think I have hardened factory length push rods. So if that's the case, I don't even have to buy push rods. That would be awesome. Bear with me, I gotta climb. This way, if I fall, at least there's witnesses. Maybe. I guess I gotta upload the video still, right? Alright, let's see. What's in this box? One box says right on it stock push rods, so let's see what's in these. I don't want to see what's in this. Huh. Just found head studs. Might not have to buy nothing for this thing. Hardware wise, I gotta see how many studs are in there. These are the crappy ones. They don't have a you just gotta put them in and use like vice grips to snug them. Here's a set of push rods. Here's a set of push rods. So 2 sets here. Gotta measure them and see what they come out to be. It's turned into an hour-long video. I'm sorry for the silence, but this is what you got to do. Push rod length. Now, piston and valve clearance, I'm not going to cover that tonight because this cam has enough, basically. Right now, the head is sitting on the deck surface. That intake valve is actually hanging. The way these are milled, that intake valve is slightly hanging into the bore, and it clears the piston. That's how far down that piston's in that hole. That technically this should hit. Like I shouldn't be able to just spin the motor over, no problem. That valve should actually be touching the piston. Maybe it is. I'll find out when I pull the head off. Now I'm also going to check the exhaust before I pull the head off, because the exhaust is usually the problem. These are too long. Yeah, that's way too long. That's not it. Alright, that's one box down. sure what length they are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm matching these up. That's way too long. Alright, so we don't have push rods. I am going to grab the box that says stock push rods on it. Real quick, I should have brought that with me. I'll just put these back over there. Bear with me for a minute. Climb back up again. Alright guys, I apologize. These things are filthy. Said stock push rods on the box. Probably just meant stock length. Oh, it's so close. Still too long though. That's alright. Push rods aren't super expensive. Do want to see how long these are. There's that. And then this is shorter. Six. Oh, I was looking at the tape measure all wrong. Alright. That makes more sense. So these are... Alright, I figured it out. It's like 6 2/8 for these. Alright. Put that in. Spin this down. Out of my valve cover. Let me pick that up. See how bad that got messed up. Surprisingly, it didn't. Alright. Let's check this exhaust side, 'cause I'm curious. Another thing is these, when they have guide plates installed, they're going to sit down a little lower. That one works a little hard. the socket over here that fits. That would make life way too easy. Alright, there we go. So these will actually sit up a little bit higher is what I was saying. Apologize for the camera work, it's not the best. But, guys, I think get the idea. Might as well just check push rod length on this one. Since we're here, if you look at this, I don't know, you guys can't really see it, but there's not much of the stud really hanging up through the rocker. So putting the guide plate under here is going to help with that. I got a little bit more stud on there, make it a little bit more dependable. I'm also going to get rocker girdles for this. There it is. Now that's hitting. And that's why I wanted to check the exhaust. So the exhaust for this cam will definitely have to be notched. Because I'm only adding another 27 thousandths, and I believe you want, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, I want to say you want 80 thousandths of clearance. So that's going to have to get notched. A bare minimum of 80, but I'm honestly not sure how much further we have on the cycle. I want to say we're almost to the top. Clearly, because the valve's smacking the piston. But the valve is also hung almost wide open. Just want to turn it back. So it seems like it needs a longer push rod in it. On the exhaust. Which really shouldn't be the case. Unless the valves aren't the same height, which could be a possibility. So, it's another thing I gotta look at and I didn't even think of until now. These valves might be at different heights because they're different length valves. This is my intake, so this is what I'm using. So when I order the push rod length, it'll be for this intake valve, because when I get the exhaust, it's going to match this lengthwise, which I'll make sure it does. And then I should be good push rod wise. So now you guys at least know how to check push rod length. I just use a tape measure and measure it. Then I convert that measurement to decimal and come up with the push rod length I need. As you can see, our exhaust valve hits, so that's at least 80 thousandths. I gotta probably take out that piston. We're going to add 27 thousandths compressed head gasket to this, so that's going to bring the head up 27 thousandths, which in all honesty might make it so this clears, but it's not going to be safe to run it that tight. So either way, this exhaust side has to get notched. I'll pull the head off. Curious to see if it left a little mark on the piston. Now, this cam is on the bigger side for a factory engine in general. It's 536 on both sides. I was hoping I'd be able to fit more, but these are the cards that I'm being dealt. So now I gotta figure it out if I can fit more. Because I want to add 536. I want to add about 60 thousandths of lift. So I'd be at 590. It's the wrong socket. I want to bring this piston up. Just want to see if I can see any marks, which I cannot. So this is where you would put clay on this piston, Play-Doh, and it'll show you where that valve is going to touch. There is a mark right here. I feel like it would be wider than that unless those valves maybe moved more centered. So I'll have to take some Play-Doh, set that in there, and see exactly where that valve's hitting. And then I gotta notch it. And then after I notch it, I'm gonna take it down. I'll probably order the head gasket, set them on. Now it's going to be 27 thousandths compressed, but I'm going to do my best not to compress the gasket because I want to reuse it. So what I will do is I'll put the head gasket on it. I'll spin this over with Play-Doh in it. See where I need to cut this. At that point, this will probably spin over, I'm hoping. And then if it don't, then I'll just chop it down and take out. I'll start with 80 and then I'll measure with Play-Doh again. But I'm hoping it spins over so I can just get a measurement. And then I can go from there and cut, say, 70 thousandths out to give me 80. I have to look it up again and see exactly what the tolerance is because I'm going to keep this on the tighter side. Usually the exhaust valve will also expand because of the heat. So that's why the exhaust, as you can see, the piston chases, obviously, the exhaust valve. So this being advanced, that valve's opening sooner, which it's smacking it into the piston. So the piston's actually coming up and that valve's opening against the piston. So I got to make it where that valve lays in the piston, essentially, like this, and then they run away from each other. So that's what I got to basically do to this piston here. So for now, I'm calling it a night. I'm going to pick some of this stuff up. Sorry about that. If you hung in this long, I appreciate you guys watching. I know it's painful, but at least you could speed it up or cut through some stuff. But that's how you check push rod length, at least how I do it. And I explained how to check piston and valve clearance, but I'm going to do a separate video on that altogether, so you can look forward to seeing that coming. That's our heads, guys, and we learned some information, much needed information about our engine. So that being said, thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks again.